Joe DiMaggio once famously thanked the good Lord for making him a New York Yankee, and who can blame him? The Hall of Fame outfielder spent his entire baseball career playing for arguably the greatest franchise in professional sports. And while it's been nearly a decade since their last World Series win, the Bronx Bombers still lead the league with 27 championships, three times as many as their rival, the Red Sox. They've also found plenty of success outside Yankee Stadium, transcending sports and turning Ruth, DiMaggio, Mantle, Berra, and Jeter, among others, into household names. That legacy off the field is now the focus of the New York Yankees in popular culture, a new collection of critical essays edited by journalist and author David Krell, who joins us now. David, welcome back to the program. So, David, what is it that has made the Yankees the predominant sports team in American popular culture?
At the risk of being New York-centric, it's because of New York. And it's also because, of course, they won. They have more World Series titles than any other team. New York has always been the center of commerce. It's been the center of communication. Yeah. It was the center of television until television moved to L.A. in the late 50s. Before that, the center of radio. And Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig came of an age where radio was the predominant mass media, or medium. And then when Mantle came aboard in the 50s, same thing with television. And then you go to the 70s with Reggie Jackson and Lou Piniella and Bucky Dent and the great teams of the late 70s. There was something about them that captured the resonance of New York. Yeah. And New York was so volatile in the late 70s. So people needed an escape. Yeah. And in comes Reggie Jackson in 1977, brash, swagger, cocky. But he delivered the 3 home runs in that World Series game in 1977.
Mr. October.
Yeah, secured him as an icon in New York Yankee history.
We'll talk about that if we have time. Yeah. But there's a very interesting essay, I think it opens the book, about by a prominent film historian, about Pride of the Yankees. It was a 1942 film about the life and career of Yankee legend Lou Gehrig, who, of course, contracted and died of ALS, the disease that would later on be commonly referred to as the Lou Gehrig disease. Right. How important was this film in bolstering the Yankee legend in popular culture?
Extraordinarily important. The great Janine Basinger, who's the leading film historian in the United States, in my opinion, dissected this movie from the genesis to the execution. You never saw a ball player depicted on the big screen like that. And it's like that A.E. Housman poem, To an Athlete Dying Young. It was so tragic, and it only went on the big screen a year after Gehrig dies. Yeah. And only 3 years after that magic speech at Yankee Stadium, where he talks about being the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Yeah, that was his farewell speech.
That was his farewell speech. And no one remembers the game that day. No one remembers who played, what the score was, but they all remember that speech because we've seen it in YouTube clips now. We've heard it. We've seen the movie 1,000 times. It's still emotionally resonant when you think of a guy who was this amazing Hall of Famer.
There are a couple of essays in the book comparing and contrasting the Yankee giants, Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio, two guys who were very different on the field and off the field and had different, enduring but different cultural legacies. Let's talk about the differences on the field. How would you compare them and their athletic reality?
Mantle could get angry. Mantle got explosive if things didn't go the way he wanted to on the field, if he struck out or something like that. DiMaggio, you almost never saw him get angry. There's one clip that's a famous clip in the 47 series. He hits a fly ball. He thinks it's going out of the park. And Al Gianfrido, the Dodgers outfielder, on the run catches the ball before it falls into fair territory. It would have been a double or a triple. DiMaggio kicks the dirt. That's about the only visual reference we've ever seen of DiMaggio getting angry.
Off the field, they were also very different. Talk about that and talk about their different cultural legacies.
Okay, well, DiMaggio was very courtly, gentlemanly, and while people loved and adored Mickey Mantle, they revered DiMaggio. And if you think about the 2 commercial endorsements that he did for so many years, the Bowery Savings Bank, Mr. Coffee, well, why did he do them? He was very much a sophisticated guy. That's the aura that he portrayed. Mantle was all over the place with his endorsements. He had a fast food franchise that went down the sewer. He had an employment agency with Joe Namath that didn't go anywhere. He was very naive when it came to business. It was only in later years where he really embraced that nostalgia boom and started to make money from that. But DiMaggio was more of an unapproachable character. Mantle was from Oklahoma. He was one of us.
You know, I got to New York City in 1979. What seemed to be in the middle of a new Yankee dynasty. It was fragile. It ended in '81 for 15 years. But one thing I and all Yankee fans agreed on was that we hated Steinbrenner. We thought he was a jerk. And then all of a sudden, sometimes in the early '90s, a character playing Steinbrenner appears in Seinfeld.
Right.
And there he is goofy and lovable. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Steinbrenner became lovable and nicer after that. Am I wrong?
Probably not. You're probably not wrong. There's something that softened him a little bit. And the fact that he could take the joke. He didn't have to sign off on that. They had to get permission. But he did sign off on it to the point where he actually filmed a cameo, but it's on YouTube.
On the show.
On the show.
They never used it because he was so bad.
Yeah, it didn't make air. Larry David wanted, you know, his voice and the actor who played him that you only saw from the back.
Well, David, the book is The New York Yankees in Popular Culture, Critical Essays, edited by yourself. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about this.
Thank you.